Hi everybody, and welcome to Rebellious Menstruation and a review on the size 2 Diva cup. Just a few things first. Essentially, I've watched quite a few in the menstrual cup community of this cup being bashed, and this cup kind of getting quite a few negative reviews, and they don't seem to be getting negative reviews because people, for the usual reasons that, it's not somebody's Goldilocks cup, people are unsuccessful with the cup or it leaks, which are all acceptable reasons to report issues with the cup. But they seem to be bashing this cup because of the price point, which is generally about $50. And I mean, I'm in Australia and it's $50 here, and I think from what I can gather in the US, it's essentially the equivalent of $50, So, but most menstrual cups are at this price point, and I feel that this cup's been getting a lot of negative press with the menstrual influencers or cup user influencers, because for not really any valid reason, except the fact that this one is usually the one that's the most readily available. This is the one that you can usually find on shop shelves, and it can, and so this is quite more often than not the first cup that people use. This is the first cup that people have access to, and therefore they'll grab this one, and it might not be perfect for them. Also, people, might not necessarily do all their research first and find out about their cervix height, or find out about what type of shape that they would really like to have, or they won't necessarily look at, most cups are sold on the premise that it's under 30 for size 1 and over 30 for size 2, and that's the suggestion with these ones too, or size 2 if you've had kids. That's actually not really a very accurate way to pick your cup. It's actually probably one of the least accurate ways to pick your cup, but I think it's an easier promotion point just to say size 1 is under 30 and size 2 is over 30 if you've had kids. It doesn't really address any of the issues that menstrual cup users have, like cervix height. Cervix height is vastly more important than pre or post children. However, because I think Diva cup is the most accessible to people, it is therefore the first one that they try. I'm just going to give, a menstrual cup a try. They'll grab this. And to be honest, this is how I got the Diva cup, is that it was accessible in the local store when no other cup was available. And you would have had to have ordered a cup online. Also, because I live in Australia, I'm actually very far away from anywhere, which meant it wouldn't have just been a $50 cup. It would have been a $50 cup plus about $25 in postage and handling. This way I could try a cup without spending the extra money for postage and handling. However, if you have a not very good experience with this Diva cup, what it means is that you kind of get to a point where you're like, oh, this cup didn't work. So either A, you judge cups really harshly, or you do what I find most people are doing on these YouTube videos or in blogs, is by trashing the Diva cup company. And with cup users who then go on to find out about cervix height and find out about the different cup shapes and sizes and the rigidity, the firmness of a cup, and kind of then make a more informed decision and get a softer cup like the Ruby cup, or a smaller cup like the Femicycle cup, or a low cervix one or a high cervix one. They then find that usually their second or third choice in a cup is actually much more suited to them and is actually much more able to be utilised in an effective manner for them. which means that because this cup is their first experience, they tend to trash the Diva cup, which is really, really unfortunate, because this is actually probably the cup that I reach for the least. I will be uploading my other cup reviews of the other ones that I have, but to be honest, this is the first one that I got. It is the first one that I got because it was easily accessible. It was in the shop, and this is the size 2 because I picked it because the size 2 is for people over 30, which is what I am. It turns out this is a very, very firm cup. It's exceptionally firm, which means it pushes on my bladder. But I'm not going to bash this company just because it wasn't my perfect cup, because I certainly wouldn't bash any other cup for the same reason. I just would say this is not the cup that is suitable for my body. It's not the cup that's suitable for my vaginal canal, and I would look around to find a more appropriate cup. And especially in light of recently, just this year, Tampax released their cup, and Tampax is not a very big brand in Australia. Well, at least it's not marketed here as Tampax. It is a very much a company in the US, and they spent a lot of research and a lot of time and effort, and their cups out with a lot of influencers at the moment who are currently posting a lot of reviews, and a lot of these reviews for the Tampax cup are very positive. And it's excellent that we have more cups. It is excellent that probably in the US, less so in Australia, that you're going to have another cup that's available on shelves. And it's going to be much more convenient for people who want to access these types of products to be able to get these. However, to give such negative reviews for a company that's been around since 2001, but then give such rave reviews for people who are sponsoring you, who are giving you the cups, and who have used you in their research to actually found a really, really good cup, is kind of a bit hypocritical. If you had the same experience now that you did, when you started using reusable products, you may have actually not picked this cup to begin with. But it's still not right to bash this company for it. Anyway, that's my rant. This is the third time I've actually filmed this video, because if you want to see the other ones, I can put them up, but it's hard to know when to say or when not to say things. And sometimes you'll say things and people will come across and go, yes, that's exactly what I've been thinking, or I thought I was all alone. And then at other times people are like, oh, how dare you mention stuff. I don't know if I'm going to edit these two videos together or not yet, just because sometimes I get to a point where I'm like, I'll just do it. So this is the little bag that it comes in, and again, this is a size 2, and it was founded in 2001 by a mother and daughter team, Francine and Corinne Chambers, in Canada. It is also actually made in Canada. I'm not sure if you can see it, and it has the Diva cup on the inside. It also has the measurements on the inside. It is made of medical grade silicone, and does not contain latex, plastic, PVC, acrylic, BPA, elastomer, or colours and dyes. Both of them come in this clear colour. I have extra bags. This is a mermaid bag by a online Etsy maker called Kitty Cat Cloth. These are unnecessary. I just like it. Sorry about that. My dog was barking at people walking past the house on the opposite side of the street. So it is sold mostly in shops. It's actually the most accessible cup up until this point, which will most likely change in the coming year with the introduction of the Tampax cup. Model 1 is there's Model 1 and Model 2, both are 57 centimetres long. They measure the height from here to the base. They do not include the stem in the measurement. The number 1 is 43 centimetres in diameter, this one's 46. This has a 28 ml capacity, and the Model 1 has a 24 ml capacity. Just a couple of possibly obvious points about menstrual cups. They collect menstrual fluid rather than absorbing it. Most of them are made of this medical grade silicone, and they last approximately 10 years. There are a couple of companies like the Hello Cup in New Zealand, and I think the Maluna, who use thermoplastic elastomer, which is, or otherwise known as TPE, which basically kind of has a half-life on this, so they last approximately 5 years. Menstrual cups are not associated with TSS or toxic shock syndrome. However, any product that you use internally carries with it the risk of toxic shock syndrome. So you cannot rule out a menstrual cup or sponges. Some people use sea sponges for internal production. Some people also use reusable tampons, which are usually like a crocheted or cotton type of essentially looks like a tampon. All of these, even if they're reusable or natural products, will come with the risk of toxic shock syndrome. Up until I think the last 18 months, menstrual cups have not been associated with one case of toxic shock syndrome. However, there were 2 cases reported. They did not report the type or style of cup that was used, just so we're clear. But one case was a woman who had severe issues with her menstrual cycle, including excessive and heavily bleeding, and was actually recommended not to use internal protection, and just however ignored advice. And the second case was where the user had left in the cup without removal for 7 days. And just an FYI, that would not be good with any internal protection. That's an exceptionally bad idea for any product that you're using. TSS in and of itself is exceptionally rare, even with tampon use. So the only thing that TSS, if you want no associated risk with TSS, use external protection. The advantage of menstrual cups is that it's a collection method rather than an absorption method. So it reduces the risk of drying out your vaginal canal. And also because you change these, every 6 to 12 hours, depending on how heavy your flow is and how heavy your cycle is, you also reduce the risk of dryness and abrasion. So these in and of themselves don't dry out your vaginal canal, so your pH balance and your kind of native, I guess, flora that's located in your vaginal canal, this doesn't affect it as much as a tampon would, because a tampon, being an absorption method, just absorbs every bit of moisture in your vaginal canal. And also the entry and exit points for your tampon, which you should be changing really every 3 to 6 hours, can cause abrasions on the way in and out, depending on your flow, your cycle, and the type of tampon that you're using. So the benefit of menstrual cups is that they have less impact on the native flora in your vaginal canal. Not all cups are vegan, so just as an FYI, make sure the cup that if you are a vegan or you are concerned about veganism, make sure that your cup is, and there are reputable companies out there. I have found Diva cups being sold by vegan companies. However, nothing's explicitly stated on the Diva cup website in and of itself, but they are sold by vegan companies. And they are compliant with all American, Canadian and Australian legislation, these Diva cups. And Diva cup in and of itself is a certified B Corporation. and as I mentioned before, manufactured in Canada. So these are really, I actually do enjoy everything else about the Diva cup. It's just really, really tough. I will be doing reviews on my two favourite cups. So if you continue to watch my cup reviews, you'll see which two that they are, and those are really, really soft cups, so I don't constantly feel like I need to go to the bathroom. It does have these 4 grip rings and then a couple of grip rings here. So all in all, I actually don't mind the construction and the feel of this cup, and it is actually very good. When I first got this, when I first started using this, and I used this for about 4 or 5 cycles at the start, is to track how much you bleed. That makes it a lot easier to actually see really what's going on, because I think external protection, and this includes cloth pads, which I do use, which you would have seen some of the reviews up on YouTube, is that, or up on here, is that, you know, it's kind of hard to tell how much is coming out because it spreads out, or it gets you get different patterns on a cloth pad. This, you can much more see how much liquid and is coming out. They're actually it is very easy to use. I use a punch down fold, which is like this, because it reduces this injury point. Diva cup is one of those ones that pops out really, really easy because it's quite a firm cup. I found with some of my softer cups that it's very, very hard to pop out. This C cup fold, I am not a fan of at all. The entry point is far too big. I found that the pop out is harder when I have it in, even with a firm cup as this. With a soft cup, I cannot get them to pop out with that C cup fold, whereas with this punch down fold, the entry point's much better and it pops out a lot easier with both this as a firm cup and as a soft cup. All in all, these are very well made and very well constructed cups, and if you have the right cervix height for this and the right type of body shape for this, it could be a very, very good cup for you. A lot of people ask what you do on the run or when you're at work. If I was changing on my heavy day, I'd change it halfway through the day. So I'd change after about 6 hours of wearing a cup, even one of this capacity, and I would just wash it out. If you want to put it in like a sterilizing water or a sterilizing mixture, I probably wouldn't be doing that at work. I'd find that just washing it out and then reinserting it is really the easiest way to go. Is really the easiest way to go. Outside of that, enjoy the rest of your day. If you want to see the other videos that I did regarding the Diva cup, you can ask below. Other than that, all my other contact details are below. These can be found in Australia in most chemist warehouses, or you can order directly from their website or directly from other health conscious website or health food stores. Other than that, bye.